Can we do a mic test to make sure? I'm going to say it just testing for the people on Zoom. If somebody could respond, if they could hear me. Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Leonard Silverin, and I am the president of the District 2 Community Education Council. And I am calling our 2024 annual meeting to order. Craig, would you please take a roll call?
Preet Boparai is not here. Allison Bowen?
Here.
Allison Bowen is here. Daniela Egorov is not here. Gavin Healy? Gavin Healy is here. Charles Love? Charles Love is not here. Sonal Patel?
Yeah.
Sonal Patel is here. Jessica Savage? Jessica Savage is here. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg? Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg is not here. Sabina Serenise?
Here.
Sabina Serenise is here. Leonard Silverman?
Here.
Leonard Silverman is here. Craig Slutskin is here. We have a quorum.
For anyone who needs interpretation services, we have interpreters who are at the back of the room. Do the interpreters want to say anything? Does anyone need interpretation services? Does anyone who needs services know exactly what I just said? All right. Now, just for those of you who are here, the purpose of the annual meeting is to elect new officers for the coming term. So there's a script that we follow. So it is now 6:11 p.m. and this meeting of Community Education Council District 2 will come to order. My name is Leonard Silverman, and I am covering the annual meeting for the purpose of electing officers. Article 2, Section 2 of the Council's bylaws requires that officers be elected by a roll call vote at the annual meeting. To be elected, a candidate must have at least 7 votes. Officers remain in position until their successors have been elected. The first order of business is to elect a chair pro tem to chair the election meeting until the president has been elected. The chair pro tem must be someone who is not running for office in the election he is chairing. Since the first election is for president, the chair pro tem cannot run for president. Once the president is elected, she can take over running the election from the chair pro tem. Are there any nominations for chair pro tem? We will accept self-nominations.
I'm going to nominate Len.
Okay, there's been a nomination for me. Anyone else interested in running for chair pro tem? So the nominations, any second call, anyone?
Second.
Okay. Nominations for the chair pro tem are now closed, and we'll proceed to a vote for the chair pro tem. You can do a vote by a show of hands. We don't necessarily have to have a roll call. All in favor?
Aye.
If you don't vote, everyone.
If you don't vote.
What are we voting for?
Just
So
I
they
can
can
run
run
the
the
meeting. Okay. So there's a note here that just says if the council fails to elect the president on the first round, the chair pro tem will continue to run the meeting except for the election of other positions she is interested in running for. All right. Congratulations. I've been elected to serve as chair pro tem and will conduct the election of officers for 2020-2021. To elect officers, we will vote upon each position before moving on to the next, so that any candidate not elected to an office can run for others. I will take nominations. Members can nominate themselves. If a member is nominated by another member, I will confirm that she accepts the nominations. Nominations do not need to be seconded. If a member is not present but has submitted her nomination in writing to the administrative assistant or another member, she will be treated the same as any member who is present, including having a 2-minute statement read aloud by someone else. Each nominee will be allowed to make a speech of up to 2 minutes. Following the candidate's presentations, we will conduct a roll call vote. All positions must be voted on, even if there is only one candidate. Where there are 2 or more candidates, each member must make a choice and vote for one or the other. Example, John Doe and James Smith are running for president. On the roll call vote, each member will vote for either John or James. The council must not vote first on John, then on James. Members may abstain from voting. If no candidate receives at least 7 votes, we will vote by show of hands on whether to do a second round or proceed to the elections for the next office. If a position remains unfilled over 2 or more rounds of voting, the incumbent will continue in the position. New elections for all unfilled positions must be put on the agenda of following month's calendar meetings until all the positions are filled. Is this procedure clear to all members?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. First, we will elect the council president. Are there any nominations for office of president?
I
You have a mic.
do. Terrific. I'd like
You
to,
have to turn around.
I'd like to nominate Craig for president.
And so we have Craig Slutskin has been nominated for the office of president. Are there any other nominations for office of president? Second chance, last chance, going once. Nominations for the office of president are now closed. We'll now call each candidate, I now call Craig to make a statement of up to 2 minutes. The administrative assistant will be timekeeper. Just do that. After all candidates have spoken, we will proceed with the roll call vote.
Thank you, Lynn. And it's very hot, so I'm going to just be very quick on just who I am. I think most people here know me already. My name is Craig Slutskin. I have been the recording secretary for the past year. This is my first term on the CEC. I'm a product of the New York City school system. I went to New York City public schools at the elementary, junior high school, and even college level, because I went to CUNY. My son attends PS 340 down in the Flatiron, Chelsea area. It's our neighborhood school. We love it there. We're very happy with it. And it's as I said, it's my local school. And I am running for the office of president because I think that there are a lot of things that we clearly disagree on, but there are things that we can agree on. And we can try to all work together. And I think I've worked with, each person on this council at some point this year on resolutions that we've gotten passed. I've written a number of resolutions, and I've sponsored, co-sponsored, co-written many resolutions that I'm very proud of. And I hope to earn your vote today. Thank you.
So we're now going to do a roll call vote for the office of president. You can vote yes, no, or abstain from the vote. So I will do the roll call vote. Pri Boparai is absent. Allison Bowen.
Yes.
Daniela Ergarov is absent. Gavin Healy.
If we don't elect someone now, we have a second round voting at the CECD2.
Well, we can decide to have a second round of voting. If we do a second round of voting and the vote remains the same and nothing changes, then I would remain the president just for this meeting, and then we do another round of voting next month.
So if we don't get 7 votes at this vote, then you're gonna vote again next month.
Well, we'll either vote again right afterwards, or we'll vote again next month.
Can I ask a question? Can we, because we have 2 people who are late, can we vote later in the meeting? Is that
I
permissible?
don't think we can vote later. We have to do it right now. So. Gavin Healy. Charles Love, absent. Sonal Patel. Jessica Savage. Sarah, right? You want me to say that?
I think they want you to repeat
They said
it.
yes. Sarah Schachter Ehrenberg. Sabina Serenese.
Yes.
Leonard Silverman, yes. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Oh, and Craig Slutsky. Yes.
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
we'd love to.
That's 7 votes. Congratulations, Craig. You are elected president.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your support.
Now I turn it over to you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So the next vote will be for the position of vice president. Do we have any nominations?
Daniela.
Daniela Egorov has been nominated. Okay. Okay, let me just go through the nominations. I didn't. So Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg has been nominated. Daniela Egorov has been nominated. I know Daniela Egorov did submit that she would accept a nomination if she is so nominated. Has Sarah submitted a notification? Thank you. Okay, thank you. We'll go through it. Are there any other nominations? Okay, so we have 2 minutes per person. The first person that would go would be Daniela Egorov, just because it's alphabetical order. It's done by alphabetical order. If anybody does anybody have anything they would like to say on behalf of Daniela Egorov? You don't have to. Okay. Does anybody wish to speak for Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg with her statement?
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, well, it's fine.
I apologize for making the meeting today and my fact is just that. Work together, consensus building over time and technology. I'm a professional counselor trained in crisis de-escalation and consensus building. My goal is to be part of positive and worldwide system. I want students to feel heard and supported. I want educational opportunities for all students. I want to find a way as we have. I have no further aspirations. I have 1 more year in the CEC. I would like to support the function of the vice president. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Gavin, I'm just going to ask you, since you are online, and I think Jessica, if you could just make sure people are getting in, because it's hard for me to manage both. Sorry. Thank you. Okay, so nominations are now closed. So you can either vote. I will call the roll. You can either vote for Daniela Sousa Egorov or Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg, or you can abstain. You can abstain, right? Okay, so Pri Boparai is absent. Allison Bowen.
Daniela Egorov.
Daniela Egorov. Daniela Egorov is absent. Gavin Healy. Gavin Healy votes for Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg. Charles Love is absent. Sonal Patel. Sonal Patel votes for Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg. Jessica Savage votes for Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg is absent. Sorry. Sabina Serenise.
Daniela Egorov.
Sabina Serenise votes for Daniela Egorov. Leonard Silverman. Leonard Silverman votes for Daniela Egorov. Craig Sluskin votes for Daniela Egorov. Daniela has 4 votes. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg has 3 votes and 4 absent, so we do not have a vice president. We'll move on to secretary. Do we have any nominations for the position of secretary?
I nominate Pri Boparai.
The nomination was for Pri Boparai. Are there any other nominations for secretary? Okay, the nominations are closed for secretary. You can vote for it. The vote is whether or not to have Pri Boparai. You can either vote yes, no, or abstain. Pri Boparai is absent. Allison Bowen.
Yes.
Allison Bowen is yes. Daniela Egorov. Daniela Egorov is absent. Gavin Healy.
Abstain.
Gavin Healy abstained. Charles Love is absent. Sonal Patel.
Abstain.
Sonal Patel will abstain. Jessica Savage. Jessica Savage will abstain. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg is absent. Sabina Serenise.
Yes.
Sabina Serenise is yes. Leonard Silverman.
Yes.
Leonard Silverman is yes. Craig Slutskin is a yes. The vote is 4 yes, 3 abstain, and 4 absent. We do not have a secretary. The next vote will be for the position of treasurer. Do we have a nomination for treasurer?
I'm going to nominate Len Silverman.
A nomination for Len Silverman. Do you accept?
No, I do not.
He does not accept.
I nominate Alice.
We have a nomination for Allison Bowen. Do you accept?
No.
Allison Bowen does not accept.
All right. Nominate Sabina. Quick.
We have a nomination for Sabina Serenise. Do you accept?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Sabina Serenise says yes, so she is nominated. Are there any other nominations?
Did your work.
You get a bath?
I'd like to nominate myself for treasurer.
Okay. So we have, Sonal Patel. So each person has 2 minutes, will have 2 minutes to speak. The first person to give, to speak will be Sonal, by alphabetical order, will be Sonal Patel.
I would congratulate myself Patel. Running for position.
Yeah.
It's going to be
It's gonna be. Yeah.
Thank you. The next person to speak will be Sabina Serenise. Do you wish to speak?
No.
Okay. She does not wish to speak. So the vote will be either for Sonal Patel, Sabina Serenise, or you can abstain or be absent. Pri Boparai is absent. Allison Bowen.
Sabina.
Daniela Egorov is absent. Gavin Healy. Gavin Healy voted for Sonal Patel. Charles Love. Charles Love is absent. Sonal Patel.
I voted myself.
Sonal Patel votes for Sonal Patel. Jessica Savage. Jessica Savage votes for Sonal Patel. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg is absent. Sabina Serenise.
Sabina Serenise.
Serenise, sorry. Sabina Serenise votes for Sabina Serenise. Leonard Silverman.
I'll abstain.
Leonard Silverman abstains, and I will abstain as well. The vote is 3-2. We do not have a treasurer. I will ask the members of this council, do we want to take a revote on each of the 3 offices tonight? I mean, we
No, I think
can,
it's
but
unproductive.
yeah, I had to ask. Okay, so this concludes the annual meeting. We gotta move now?
I'm moving over there.
Okay. Thanks, Len. So this concludes the annual meeting. And we'll start. Hold on a second. And I'd like to call this meeting. I would like to call this meeting of the Community Education Council to order. I would first and foremost like to start by thanking Len Silverman for his service, first over the past 5 years as a member of this council, and especially for the past year as council president. It's not easy to sit in this seat and run the meetings and organize and coordinate the council, and he did it with aplomb. I look forward to continuing to work with you over the next year. Thank you, Len.
Even if I'm sitting over here.
Even if you're sitting over there.
I can sit over there too. but
That's fine. I would also, moving along, we're going to go through our council norms. I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. We'll be hearing from the public session from many of you. I will ask everyone to be respectful of each other, and I know we are very passionate of our viewpoints, and that's certainly to be commended. I would ask that we listen to each other and we do not interrupt each other. When we have the public session, there will be a time limit. The time limit exists so we can get through the agenda. We will need to be out of the space tonight no later than 9 p.m. We actually do not have it till 10 tonight. We only have the space till 9, which means we'll need to have the meeting adjourned by 8:45 so we can tear down the AV and clean up. I want us to get through the meeting and allow for some time for the council to discuss the two resolutions. For those on Zoom, we will have the chat box open and we'll be monitoring it. Again, please be respectful to one another. If we find there are issues, we will close the chat, but we strongly do not want to go that route. Thank you. So we will now move to the presentation of resolutions. We'll start with Resolution 257, resolution to fund a certified librarian in every New York City public school. This resolution was submitted on time. Is there anybody that would wish to speak on Resolution 257? Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, and everybody, we'll just try to share this one mic. So, this resolution, 247, is called Resolution to Fund Certified. Let's say it's still in here. Keep it right there.
You have to be really loud, like I was, yeah, because they were hearing me.
So resolution, this is resolution 257, resolution to fund certified librarian in every New York City public school. I think it's relatively self-explanatory, but just trying to get back, right now, there's no mandate to have a librarian in elementary schools. It is a state mandate to have a librarian in secondary school. The exact amount of coverage depends on the size of the school, depends on how many students are in the school. For example, if the school has 100 or less students, it's a certified librarian coverage for one period a day, and then going up depending on the number of students. It could be full coverage or it could be some partial coverage. So librarians are different schools. However, there is no mandate for the librarian in elementary schools. Some schools do fund the librarian and the PTA, but relatively funding to do that. But even at a secondary school level, so there's a mandate, there's no funding attached. So what this resolution asks for is to extend money to secondary schools, also to elementary schools. At the same time, it asks for any funding and line item for that will cover. And again, it's about how the size. But I think it's really and talk a lot about this. Very awesome. And it's something very magical and special. Librarian in our school. The librarian in the school is kind of for the teachers or for guidance or education or but there's something special about being able to go outside of the curriculum. It's not necessarily strictly tied to so that's why I introduced this resolution.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay.
It sounds like they have to do what
can only do what I mean, this is, I'm not, just, I did the best that we could do.
The microphone's not-
Yes.
I know.
Really, like, I got it. We're all connected.
Okay, let's stop, let's hold on for a second. So the people on, right, so for the people on Zoom, can you hear me now? Okay. Gavin, can you, or Stonal, can you speak with your microphone? Well, either of your microphones?
Hello? Hello?
It's, yeah, no, it's my computer, it's not on my, the microphone is on the owl, it's not on my computer.
Do you want to test this?
Hold on. Let me just try something. Okay. So try speaking now, please. Now that you're close, this is closer.
No, that's not. Can you?
Can you, with the other mic? Can you- Just for the folks at home, it is not the computer because it is, the audio is set to the hour. It specifically says, select the microphone, and it says meeting hour, not the computer.
So Craig, would it help to unmute on your computer and then?
Do you want to try that? Do you want to just try and then? Jessica, Jessica's not in the meeting. Jessica, could you go in the meeting? So this way we go. Why don't we do that? Whoever is speaking will unmute themselves on the computer. You'll just use mine. You want to try that?
Whoever students are listening to this. On their computer, but it's gonna get the static is gonna be loud.
So Sonal, why don't we try for you first? If you unmute yourself and just speak and see if people can hear you at home.
Can people on Zoom hear me?
Okay. We'll just do that. We'll try that then. We still need the mics, otherwise the people in the audience won't hear us. That's the problem.
You can do both.
So the next resolution is Resolution 258, the resolution on mandating designated time for collaboration amongst educators to promote inclusive learning for students with disabilities. This was submitted on time. Is there anybody who would like to speak to the resolution?
I will.
Jessica Savage will speak to the resolution.
So I think I'm on Zoom and I think I'm talking with the mic. Can anyone hear me everywhere? Now it's on? It's on?
Yeah.
Now it's on. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm presenting on Resolution 258, which is called a resolution on mandating designated time for collaboration among educators to promote inclusive learning for students with disabilities. We know that in order to do inclusion work most effectively and to enhance the educational outcomes for our students with disabilities, that our schools need to do a better job of supporting our special education educators and staff. New York City Public Schools recently has undertaken new efforts to do this with the creation of the Division of Inclusive and Accessible Learning. And while this new initiative sets the stage for supporting opportunities for advancing inclusion work within our district, it lacks clarity around specifics for how some of this work can get carried out. So this resolution is really just discussing two specific points. The first involves ensuring that special education educators actually have the time they need to collaborate with each other, to evaluate students and write IEP evaluations within schools. And we know that at present this frequently does not happen, even though it should. And that reports are frequently not provided to students as they're supposed to be. The second issue is with regards to how beneficial it would be for IEP teams to learn and work across schools with each other to share best practices to support inclusive learning. And so we've asked for three specific asks. We've asked Superintendent McGuire, one, to instruct all school principals to designate time for their IEP teams to meet monthly at minimum, to ensure that schools are prioritizing and supporting their IEP team's ability to review student progress and write IEP reviews. Of course, this is what's supposed to be happening, but we need to ensure that it's happening. So our second ask is that it's mandated that school principals provide quarterly compliance reports to the appropriate District 2 office, that such IEP team meetings have occurred or some other collaborative dedicated time. The third ask is that an annual D2 summit on inclusion start being held this coming school year. Something that would be tailored specifically for special education educators, similar to the principals summit. Something that would really allow for these connections to be made and best practices to be shared in thoughtful ways. So really, this is just asking for a little more prioritization and time for these educators to support this work. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Before we go to the next topic, one bit of housekeeping. I apologize. We did not do the roll call for the calendar meeting. Given that we did not elect a new secretary, I will do the roll call. Pri Boparai.
Here.
Pri Boparai here. Allison Bowen. Allison Bowen here. Daniela Egorov is absent. Gavin Healy. Here. Charles Love is, Gavin Healy is here. Charles Love is absent. Sonal Patel.
Here.
Sonal Patel is here. Jessica Savage.
Here.
Jessica Savage is here. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg is absent. Sabina Serenise. Sabina Serenise is here. Leonard Silverman. Here. Leonard Silverman is here. Craig Slutzman is here. And we have a quorum. The next item on the agenda is the first public speaker session. And Victor, can you give us this thing? If anybody hasn't signed up yet, please see Victor, our administrative assistant, and he will get you on the list. As a reminder, each person will have 2 minutes to speak. I guess I will run the session. Do you want to run the session? So Pri is going to run the session tonight.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. And I apologize that I was late today driving in. So first we have Lupe Hernandez, and we will set up the timer. The mic not working very well? I think it's better here. Okay. And I will have a timer here as well. I think we'll stick to that annoying sound that we had last time, so it works. There are, just so everyone's aware, for the first session, we have.
Did Lupe walk out?
Yeah.
We'll come back. We'll come back.
There are 8.
Lupe, we'll come back.
Lupe, okay. And next is, I just want to make sure I say this correct. Elena Daniels. Elena Daniels, please.
I'm a teacher. So actually, I don't want to address the council. And thank you in your role as the now president. Students protesters in the audience here just loving protesting and trying to protesting. over the last couple months, as cops and peers drug tests on all campuses. And this is both.
It's for speakers, it's so they can hear you. It's so
They can't hear me. Okay. In the police clearing out student protesters felt both dangerous and unethical. It also cost $1 million in our New York City budget. And I'm going to make sure you can hear me online. And basically the question is like, in what ways and why is that necessary? In what ways, the cops are, not great on, the cops are dangerous on college campuses. When they and their kids. Craig, I'm hoping that in your new role as president, that is not on your agenda to do in the future. Basically, I want us to think about like, how does what safety service is hidden? How does these systems that are set up, preventing who gets to talk, who doesn't get to talk, who gets to run, who doesn't. As someone who's trans and who's not a parent but cares a lot about kids, I'm not allowed to run for the school board, and many trans women particularly, can't have kids, so can't run and can't support our kids in the ways that we would like to. And basically, it's a question about thinking about free speech. And it's a question of like, should be free speech for hate speech, or is the right to is there a right to freedom and harassment when we start? I heard a bunch of things in the meeting today about us being respectful. I've also heard in every CECD meeting for the last couple months, heard myself called a veil, heard myself called a groomer, seen myself been misgendered, and been called names repeatedly. And so I think it's a question of how are we working together, how are we caring for all our kids? And so I want to end with a request to our new council, and particularly you, Craig. Please rescind Resolution 248. Thank you very much.
Anybody on there else?
Next, we have Megan Madison, thank you. And right after that would be Jimenez. Adara Jimenez. I can switch, I think yours is better. Yeah. Thank you. So I will let you, I think this is better. So I'll let you know when your time begins, and it begins now. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. So we're,
We'll give you the time.
I didn't press
You'll
start
get
yet.
you'll
Don't
get the
worry.
time. We're not gonna play that. You'll figure it out.
Thank you. How about now? Pretty closer to. Okay. There we go. Yes. Love that book.
Me too. I brought to say thank you, Bree. I've been thinking about your child
and the idea that all children, including your child, deserve to feel safe to be themselves fully at school and in their community. Your child and all children, trans kids included, deserve to feel so much more than that. They deserve to feel celebrated, all of the parts of them. And books are one way to create school environments where all kids feel safe and celebrated. Today, I brought Hair to. It's a sweet story about a dad and a daughter who both happen to be sick. It could be used to teach, well, literally, but also to open up important conversations about religious diversity. With anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and white Christian nationalism on the rise, it is very important that we proactively support this kind of anti-bias education in our public schools. A recent report published by the SICK Coalition found that 77% of SICK students who wear dastars or patkas reported being bullied at least once. That's not okay. 85% of trans kids say they don't feel safe at school. That's not okay. Me and Elena went to the city council committee on education hearing and learned from DOE officials that bias-based bullying is on the rise in our schools, while funding for restorative justice is getting cut. That's not okay. You might be surprised, but it's also a great book to talk about gender with young children. In the book, the father braids his daughter's hair and dances with her in the living room after school. These are very healthy, common, and loving activities, but they're not often portrayed by children's literature, which can perpetuate very limiting stereotypes about fatherhood and family structures.
I'd guess that there are even fewer representations of trans fatherhood, trans parenthood, or trans people in general, and we don't even have the data to back that up. So I'll just by saying, if you want to work together to support the City Council's Resolution 95, which would actually invest money in developing a religious literacy curriculum, we want to reach out and we want to partner and make that happen.
Thank you so much.
Like, is everyone else muted here? Because people are saying things. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
nobody else.
Yeah. So, I'm saying this correctly, Adira Menace. Welcome. And your time starts now. A little closer. Just speak. Perfect.
My name is Adira Jimenez, and I'm a parent and sister. And I'm here to ask the team, along with the Department of Education, to please consider looking into the ways of keeping the 3K and pre-K programs within the COE school year. Or, if they can, if the COE complete staff in those facilities in the state. My favorite was added independent daycare center this past year, and we learned early after being disenrolled how private facilities will retaliate and behave in violent manner because of our economic status. Out of respect for everyone's time, I would like to request a private meeting with the CECD2 in which I go into further detail. I'm happy to leave my contact information. Thank you.
Ma'am, if you want to leave the contact, the previous speaker, ma'am, sorry. Fine. No, if you, there's a nice gentleman over there, or there's assistant named Victor. If you could leave your information with her, that would be great. Okay, great. She wanted to see us. Thank you. We can go back to Lupe.
Okay.
We can go
All
back
right,
to the first.
perfect.
The first.
Oh, the first. So, all right. Lupe Hernandez, please.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for having public speaking, because last year this time, this council opened up with not allowing the public to speak, and I think that's pretty disingenuous. Just as looking at the phone when public speaks, I recalled actually last meeting, many of you not paying attention to the public as they come out to voice their concerns, and there was even a motion that was put forth for you guys to give us our undivided attention, and I want to thank those of you that are actually taking the time to do that. What we've been hearing this summer Rising just began. I think I spoke to some of you already. We've been talking to many families about the school's ACs not working during our Summer Rising. So I'd like for D2 to please implore and find out why even this particular school that we are currently in, we are sweltering, and we know that the kids are usually in the gym and or outside, and probably really, really, really hot. Also want to address our special education students, because you do represent them even if you don't have one. Many of our students currently have not received their related services, and even for those who have received compensatory services over the summer, there's been a delay trying to get those services rendered. So I implore you, thank you for the resolution that you guys passed, and I'm looking forward for you guys passing this current one, where it gives our educators the opportunity to collaborate with other schools that will help in making sure that our students are getting and receiving their mandated services. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Alice, followed by Jim and Nick, so please be ready, but Alice. Speak closer to the mic. Or you can
Right here. Can you hear me?
You gotta push the button up.
Push the button up.
Can you hear me now?
You gotta talk right into it.
Hello?
Go closer to your mouth, sorry.
I think I yelled.
Yeah. I should be sick, I think.
So thank you, everybody, for allowing me to speak, and I wanted to thank you all, great parents, for serving.
I think we should switch mics here. This line is good, so.
All right.
Bring that over.
We won't count this against your time.
Yes.
Sorry about
No,
that.
that's okay.
All right, you can just turn that on.
Yay.
Wonderful.
Thank you for allowing me to speak, and I want to thank you all great parents for serving at CEC, because I know you all volunteered, it was a very hot day. Sorry. I listened to everybody's shows, and, thank you, everybody, for your feedback, in case of a late, I don't know too much about it, but it seems to me that the only thing it said was that, it's like to form a committee to look into trans youth on school choice. And it seems to me that maybe I've heard there's a lot of anger regarding that discussion, which seems to be a good place. So let's go to the basics. All it said was to form a committee. And I believe Chancellor Bancroft said we're not revisiting this issue and to move on, and that's done. So all I wanted to say was I think we should all, as parents, as educators, try to move on and try to do what's best for the city of New York City. As a parent, I think all we want is the best for all the kids in our community. All of them. Biological girls, biological boys, and trans people. So I don't think this crisis is helping anybody. Thank you. If you have one, figure what we did. Next we have Jim. Jim, okay.
So usually we that's all commandments be posted in the class. We have what that. This is what happens to the Lord's regulations are now based on political economy rather than input, and it computes the community impact. It's obvious we use national that this will appear politically motivated. These politicians face the role of change. In 2019, in New York City, we will be guidelines on gender to change the policy. There's like the amendment law. These policies are not of experts and community impact. As a result, you have guidelines that lack merit and appear politically motivated. Those who support the new guidelines should be directing their frustration at the DOE when enacted this in a manner that would question its merit. They should be praising, they should be supporting NCC for resolution and from experts and community so we can have guidelines that have merit now political bias. Thank you.
Very much. Next, we have everyone for taking time. I appreciate that. So, next, next, we have Elizabeth, you're still here. Come on up. All right. Fine. And next we have We'll be at another public session after this one and after that.
All right, so all this, here you go. Thank you. All right, just let me know when my time starts. I will. Can you hear me? All right. Your time starts now. Okay, as someone who is born and raised in New York City and went to New York City, DOE funded schools my entire life, I can just attest to how life-saving public libraries and school librarians have been to my life and just to the world. As a non-binary trans person who has a trans sibling who is also in New York City public schools, I can attest to the importance of inclusive learning. And as someone who is mistreated in schools for undiagnosed behavioral disabilities, I say that one of the most important things to make sure that children don't face abuse either at home or at school is inclusive and collaborative learning with experts, dedicated time, and that children who have behavioral difficulties are allowed to meet and get diagnosed properly with the paraprofessionals and guidance counselors that they have access to, and to increase funding for people who understand these issues, because I've experienced a lot of mistreatment in New York City public schools, even from people trying their best, and it really disheartens me. So I am coming out to support a resolution to fund public library, mandated certified librarians in every New York City public school, as well as to create a more inclusive learning environment to prevent abuse both at home and at schools, as someone who has experienced a lot of emotional abuse, neglect, and corporal punishment, not in schools, but at home. That's what I have to say. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. So next we have Lauren. William saying that correctly. Emily. Okay, well done. Thank you.
I'm gonna take my mask off for this. Your time starts now.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, my name is Mo. My pronouns are he, they. I work as a therapist, trans therapist, out in queer and certain trans adult clients, who I had mentioned in Maine, have been parents or teachers or former students. I was really disheartened and disappointed in the last meeting. The escalation, I feel like didn't come at this meeting to begin with. A lot of the escalation came, and I know that they're defeated, but you still have some folks on here who have been neutral, Moms for Liberty, that are still in the board meeting. You can tell in the meeting when it turned is when those kids walked out crying. And at what point that did was when Gays Against Groomers spoke. That hateful rhetoric, if you can imagine in a meeting, have the impact on those kids. Imagine what it has school year long on the vast majority of them, their friends, their allies, their families. There's ripple effects to this. I hope those kids walk away from that night remembering the sea of white. It makes me want to cry, and not the hateful rhetoric. There were so many people claiming to be experts in the room that night. People who Maud brought in said they were physicians, former athletes who have left professions because of trans folk, and I'm glad they did, because of half of trans folk. There are other people who have experts to collaborate with you, but the real that night were those kids. They're the only ones who can tell you who they are, and they're what they need, and they were not heard that night. It was really sad, and so I hope that you continue to listen. You had an opportunity that evening to resend the resolution, and I hope tonight you do as well. Thank you.
We have
Thank you.
Hi, I don't remember me. I came to a couple months ago. I'm sure in District 5. And so the gentleman was concerned about access
actually, the trans policy for students in 2014, before I even started teaching in the system. And for any sort of clarifications they need, they have come in, I'm a trans teacher, it came in as a, like, these are the kids, but so I want you guys to think about that, right? I know a lot of things like I just want to speak to are not right now. Some of you, I would like to sway you in your thinking around this and then without the kind of system that you want. Who do you want in the system? What kind of teachers do you want? What kind of students do you want? Because first off, again, we've had a trans student policy since like 2014. I have not heard a single issue around a trans athlete. And if anything, I would expect it. We are the largest district in the nation. We have more trans people than anywhere else in the country. How do we not have trans athletes in our system? Like, it's crazy to me. I think if we actually look at the failings of the trans policy, it's completely not in the direction that you think. It is not in the direction of like over enabling trans people into the system. It's like, it has barely protects us. Any trans student I have, they are like in and out because they have so many issues going on with their lives and they do not feel like they don't know about the trans policies. Whenever I tell these kids, oh, you're just allowed to change your name, like you can do a preferred name. No, there is so much threatening kind of attitude around. They don't feel safe. They don't understand their rights. Like if anything, like we do not do nearly enough to protect the trans kids. Again, let alone the teachers. Like, I don't want to do my own horn, but like I'm a hell of a teacher. I've been in the system for almost 10 years. I have taught Algebra 1, geometry. I created AP Stats, programming, music production. I do like, if you ask anyone in my school, like I am exactly the kind of teacher that anyone would want in their schools. But if you keep trusting your colleagues who are in bed with Moms for Liberty, who would call me a groomer to my face, like you are not going to have the right people in this system.
Folks tonight, and then conclude our first public session. Now let's turn this back to session.
And just for the records, Councilmember Charles Love joined us during the public session. So the next item on the agenda is the report of the Community District Superintendent, and I will turn it over to Superintendent McGrath.
There you go.
All right, good evening, everybody. For having you for the entire community with our new president, welcome today. My name is Tony McQuarrie. I'm about to begin my support here as superintendent, and I'm joined tonight by our two deputy superintendents, Dr. Brendan Keegan and Kelly. And I'm happy tonight to report that the end of our school season ended very positively. We had tons of celebrations with graduation, school trips, and other individual activities that are so important to our schools and to our communities. We jumped very quickly into summer horizon. We have almost 3,000 students who are participating in summer horizon, grades kindergarten through 8th grade. I am very happy to report that while this school is the summer horizon, we are not feeling the everything here right now. I am very happy to report that all of our classes are very well positioned. And there are any reports or any concerns you hear about recommendations in the horizon classes, please let us know during the but we have been very much on top of that and made sure that was a plus. We are also an advocate for air conditioning school spaces. I'm also very happy to report tonight that we have expanded because of the new council budget, along with our mayor, the fact as the public open close to 15 new pre-K classrooms across our district. As some people know, last year we ended the year with hundreds of families on the pre-K wait list. We are now offering close to 230 kids, brand new classrooms here in our district, both in existing schools and we are recommending additional PK center. So we're very happy to do that, and we continue to expand the classroom offerings that are unique needs of families in our district. I'm also very happy to report tonight that we are on track for meeting our academic and behavioral goals here in the district. We have reduced the rate of students who are reporting that they are suicidal and self-harm. We have reduced the rate of suspension in our district. We are on track to meet goals that are targeted towards improving the proficiency rates of all of our students in our district. We are looking forward next year towards one of our goals. I think aligned with some of the resolutions that are recently passed here. That resolution for making sure that we are changing everyday student experience for our students with disabilities. We also have a differential learners, Black and Hispanic students who are not performing at the same rate as students in our district. We want to raise the proficiency rate for all students in our district. But we are with the rollout of our new curriculum, both in mathematics and the part of the new written business curriculum, really testing that work to make sure that it's well implemented for all kids and making sure that it is especially well implemented for students who have not yet reached the proficiency level of other students that are currently in our district. So that is one of the guideposts that is that we are talking about. A couple of weeks ago, Chancellor Banks announced a couple of changes here. You've heard about NYC needs. District 2 was highlighted for our work as part of NYC Fall. New York City is moving forward with a common mathematics curriculum. We are one of the pilot districts. I really want to give a shout out and a thank you to all of our teachers, all of our principals, our district leaders, who have been instrumental in helping to make sure that the new mathematics curriculum and the definitive mathematical thinking are really in place, and that our district is a model, not just because we have high achievers, but because our district is leading the way in how we implement a high quality curriculum across the district. So we're very proud of that. We also, more things, actually, we also want to cite the work that we are doing this summer. Today, I was away at a meeting for superintendents, Dr. Higgins and Superintendent Shannon were with our teachers who were down at PS 126 today, engaged in work around building their proficiency around implementing the wisdom curriculum. We have work going on all across the district, and thousands of our teachers are engaged in professional learning led by our district team, led by our school leaders across our schools. We are working on literacy, we are working on math, we are working on building SEL skills, we are working on conflict resolution. We're very proud of the work that has been happening here, and we're proud of the work that our district leaders have initiated along partnership with our teachers. Also, I want to provide a very quick update. I think it is resolution 266. That's correct. That was passed at the June meeting in regard to special education. In regard to the correct 266, or the special one that was passed in June, I have met with our central team, our central education team, which is now part of the division led by Deputy Chancellor. That team has committed to many of the items that are in the resolution around providing transparency for families for services and support, what that looks like for children, and they will provide a more report either through me or here at our August meeting, regardless of where that way. We'll have that update as well. I also just want to let people know that that's another visit, that's school. And that everybody is enjoying the summer, getting a little R&R, but also that we are at work getting ready for. Thank you very much.
Before I get the mic, can people hear me if I speak very loudly? Can you hear me? Is this better? I'm going to try, so this way I don't have to bounce that mic between myself and the superintendent. Can you hear me in the audience if I speak really? Okay. Trying to avoid the back and forth. Are there any questions for the superintendent from the council? I have two, so you can talk about. First, on the 3K, are all the spots in our district now taken, or are you opening it up to new additional families?
Question was, are all in most cases, many of those seats did fill up right away. And you are accepted, or have not yet responded. So we're waiting on four. So it's a scenario like that.
Use some audio back.
Oh, no, it's okay. So a scenario like that, but I can say that many families have been waiting for these seats, and we're very hungry to apply and get a spot. So if you are looking for a seat at our school, you need to apply right away. Look for these new classrooms that are now posted online.
If there are additional openings, how are you going to advertise it? Because most people in this district are not listening to tonight's meeting as riveting as it may be. But how would you advertise that?
If families have applied previously for 3K or 3K spots, they're on a distribution list. When new sites get opened, then they receive an email communication from the Department of Education Office of Enrollment, letting them know that they can apply to the newly opened spots.
The second question is on the illustrative math. My understanding is a lot of our schools already have adapted either illustrative math or something similar, so it's not going to be a significant difference for District 2. Is that correct?
So what District 2 did, which is in line with the first phase of NYC Solves, is that NYC Solves is only pertaining to middle school grades. We adopted NYC Solves across all of our middles. So you're right. There is no change other than we're going to get better and better at implementing it over the years. But there is no curricular change in our middle school. In our elementary schools, NYC Solves does not include elementary school classroom curricula yet. But in our elementary school classrooms, many of our schools have adopted a new curriculum that is aligned with new standards, either illustrative math or Eureka Squared, which is another standard aligned curriculum. There is no mandate yet for elementary schools to change math curricula. Next year, we are focused on literacy, and we'll see what happens coming down the pipeline.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the council for the superintendent? Well, we thank you for your report. We thank you for your hard work. And we don't want to forget the deputy superintendents. Thank you, Deputy Superintendent Higgins and Deputy Superintendent Shannon, for all your hard work and also for coming tonight. Thank you. Thank you. So we have next is the president's report. First, I wanted to just say in terms of the sound, I do apologize both for the folks in here and for the folks at home. We do try, Victor and I are here very early. I was here at 4:45, testing all the microphones. All of the microphones that you saw here were working perfectly at the beginning. And this is the same as, I don't think, I tested on the sound on the Zoom. I did a test Zoom. For some inexplicable reason, it just stopped working. All these work perfectly. We get here very early. We will, again, revisit what we're doing, but we are definitely trying. It's not something that I take lightly. I want people at home to be able to hear us. So it is something that we will continue to work on, but it's not for lack of trying for care. I just want to make sure people do understand that. Because I was not sure I was going to be elected tonight, I know the former president did want to speak as part of the president's report, and I'm going to allow him to do so. And then I'll have a couple of items for everybody's information.
Thank you for the congratulations on your election. First, I want to thank everyone here. President Wilson, all members of the council, as well as the school, everyone. A real opportunity and appreciate it. Also, like I said, about the website had nothing to do with the recent resolution you passed for the actions resolution. I mentioned, literally a year ago, it was only one term. That was specifically because that parent leaders, that we all have the chance to exercise leadership positions, and that no one should presume that they can do the job better than anyone else. So I think it was a fantastic program. I know that the rest is not. If we want to add one other thing, if you notice we're short one member tonight, in our last meeting, our members have been removed, the chance to remove. The reaction of the people that are here tonight, that I'm sure anyone is support that decision by the chancellor. However, what I will say is, based on what I read at the chancellor's reasoning, what I'm trying to remove, it did not have to do with resolution or comments that, my understanding is that the removal is specifically on the role is in the connection with high school and so I think to say really it's a very dangerous precedent. And if there was for the issues that the members of the committee are here tonight, then the chance would not be that. Aaron, we certainly like any organization, CECD to have chancellor advisory committee, when the chancellor makes a decision to should be asked to you may not agree with or the statements of the league by the leaders, but we should have the right to exercise their decision and really concerned. But I really don't think the teachers acted genuinely. It was quite mysterious in terms of the connection and the chief.
Thank you, Robert. So on my report, first I'd like to thank our host school tonight, Wagner Middle School, and Principal Jennifer Wren. And I may be mispronouncing that, I apologize. There have been a bunch of happenings over the past month that I just want to report. I think it was last month, maybe a month and a half ago, the Chancellor announced that 6 high schools in our district will be allocating 75% of the seats to students who live in Manhattan for the upcoming admission cycle. This includes Eleanor Roosevelt, Millennium, Clinton, Lab, the Museum School, and the Baruch College Campus High School. This is a welcome relief to many of our families who have been advocating for some level of geographic priority after a few years of teaching middle school students having some of the worst placement rates across the city for high schools. This is a welcome middle ground that will still allow access to these schools for students from the outer boroughs. This is a starting point, and we'll see how this works in terms of boosting placement rates while trying to maintain diverse schools. As a reminder, this council passed a resolution earlier this term asking for some reinstatement of the geographic priority. Second, the chancellor recently announced his intention to ban cell phones in schools even as early as next January. The policy has not been set yet, and I'm sure there will be plenty of discussion in the coming months, and I'm sure we'll talk about it as a council as well. Third, earlier this term, the council passed a resolution for early voting not to happen in our school buildings, as early voting generally takes place in gyms or cafeterias, leading students to not have physical education, potentially a couple of months between general and primary season at a time, or have lunches in their laps in the auditorium. In D2, many families reached out to both Lab Middle School and this school, Wagner, because of early voting in these schools. I believe at Wagner, they do it in lunch in the gym, so they see it in the gym. To be clear, our concern is not with early voting, which I personally think is a good thing. It was that there are just better places for it. The state legislature did have proposed legislation banning early voting in schools, but the legislature adjourned its session in June without acting on those bills. I highly suggest families who feel strongly about this issue contact their state senator, their state assembly person, and Governor Hochul and express their concerns so that the bill is taken up in the next session. For families with an 8th grader, there was a high school admissions information session last night. I heard it was very helpful. For those of you who may have missed it, my understanding is there will be a second session 1 week from tonight, and eventually a recording will be posted. If you need further information about that, please send to that guy, Mr. Ruiz, our administrative assistant, and he will help you out, find out more information. We have the student representative position still vacant. We've had some really strong and opinionated students hold that position in the past, including Ben Sun, who was phenomenal. Students have to be eligible, students have to live within District 2 and be a member of the elected student government or hold an elected leadership position, such as president of a club, as well as being a senior. If you know anyone who may be interested, they can fill out an application, they can see me, they can speak to Superintendent McGuire for more information. And finally, I would like to thank our face rep, Anthony Settle, our administrative assistant, Victor, and our superintendent, Kelly McGuire, for helping with the arrangements and logistics for this evening. Thank you.
Superintendent McGuire, is there one position or two?
So the question is how many student reps, and we can have up to 2. We can have 1, we can have 2. So I encourage anybody who has interest, or they try, knows a high school senior that has an interest, to please contact, fill out an application, contact me, contact the superintendent, and we will organize that application process for you. Thank you. So moving along, are the report of committees, are there any reports of existing committees? Right? Discussion of resolutions. So we'll start off with resolution 257, the resolution to fund a certified librarian in every New York City public school. Are there any questions or comments on the resolution? I do have one question, and I'll explain where the question is coming from before you answer, because it will help give context. So my question on this, obviously I think it's a really good thing, schools should have librarians. My question is, what exactly, because it's unclear from the resolution, is the funding source? And let me explain why I'm asking. It's a scenario that a real world example. So many of our schools, especially our smaller schools, run on a very, very tight budget. There is no additional money for another body, another headcount. So they don't even have positions, they don't even necessarily have enough money for existing teachers, so they have to appeal, they'll get the money because they're requirements. So in one school, for example, there are only 3 specials: physical education, which I think is required, science, and then art and music. And my fear about this is that if a principal is forced to have a librarian within the confines of the existing budget, the only way to do that financially would be to eliminate one of those positions and make this the special. So in other words, in that scenario, instead of phys ed, art slash music, and science, you would have no science and you'd have the librarian. So you're sort of pigeonholing the principal and the parents in terms of what they want. I'm not sure I'm understanding what you're suggesting as the funding source, but that's my question. That's my concern with this. Obviously, we should have librarians. I think it's very important. It's a very important position. I just want to make sure that we're not pigeonholing our teachers and our schools.
Sure. So let me see if this works. So the very last clause is asking for the legislature, the state legislature, to enact a bill ensuring that a certified librarian is a funded mandate. So this is actually asking for additional funding to come from the state to fund these librarians.
So would you be amenable to some language to say that it would, without touching, I'll have to come up with people, without touching the existing school budgets? I just want to make that perfectly clear that it's not mandated that they have to do within their confines of their budget. It's not enough. I don't want a principal to be pigeonholed and have to eliminate programs that are beloved. And I think we're saying the same thing. I think our goals are the same, I think, but I just want to make that crystal clear. Would you be amenable to that?
So I guess I fear a little bit that sort of muddies the waters, because I mean, I think the ask is for the state legislature to fund this. And I know the state legislature, doesn't really have the power to, move principals to, move their funds or take it from another special to that. So, I mean, I get what you're saying, and I like acknowledge that would be important. I would not want to fund a certified librarian at the expense of, art or music or phys ed. But I think that, I'm a little bit wary of putting specificity in what is basically an ask to the state legislature. But obviously, this would involve, a lot more work to, get the language of the bill, in place.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I think anybody could play games. The state legislature could provide funding for this, but then they could take away money for the school, and it would balance out. So at the end of the day, there's no real way to safeguard that. I acknowledge that. It's just there is no way to do that. It is what it is.
Suggest is just I guess I mean it's a little bit difficult because we don't have that many people to do motion and things, but we could motion to add some language there that ensuring that a certified librarian is a funded mandate that does not take funding from other
I don't know how it works. Ideally, yes, but I don't know how enforceable that is, to be honest. I mean, I get it, that's what I want, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine. I'm fine with leaving it as is.
I mean, I suppose it's as enforceable as our resolutions are.
I understand that. Again, I think we're talking about the same, we're agreeing with each other. I think it's fine. Are there any other questions on the resolution? Okay, we'll move along. Resolution 258, resolution on mandating designated time for collaboration amongst editors and educators to promote inclusive learning for students with disabilities. Are there any comments or questions on this resolution from the council? I'll just say I agree with it. I'm fully supportive of it. It's very important. So now we will go to so that's the end of discussion of resolutions. We will go to our second public speaker session. Victor, if you could provide that. Great. Bree, are you going to run this one also? Yep. Great.
This one? Yeah. Thanks. Oh, other one? Which one's better? Neither, both, turn it on. Cool. Hi, everybody. Welcome back again, and hopefully we can hear me. Yes, I see the appreciate and thank you. And I appreciate that our system is letting people all participate and hear. I've heard a bunch of talk tonight about how the when the guidelines protect trans and non that I cannot talk tonight. Too hot. I heard a bunch of talk tonight about how when the guidelines protect trans and non-binary kids were passed, it didn't include people. I think in a bunch of ways, there's been that has been happening for a while. When this council questioned and voted to rescind against it, they asked for expert testimony, and a bunch of us who were experts, like Bahar in the audience, got up and explained why, we were experts and why it belonged, and the ways that we weren't allowed in the room in order for it to happen. And I think it comes back to the question of how do systems of power stay hidden? How do systems of power get in place? Who do they protect and who do they keep safe? I think it's the question as to why were there at least 5, possibly 7 school safety officers back at the back of the room? And are they who keep us safe? Personally, in my classroom, when we try and do safe, we set up community agreements. We set up a discussion about who gets to talk, who gets to be included. How do we keep everyone safe enough while disagreeing at the same time? Personally, I don't think that disagreeing about the existence of trans kids when they've existed forever, is a legitimate disagreement. I don't think whether or not they should be allowed to go to school is a legitimate disagreement. Protecting our most marginalized, or at least some of our most marginalized students, seems to be one of the most important things. Len, I actually want to say, in some ways, I think I appreciate you questioning why the chancellor decided to remove us. It's a very interesting question. And if we are talking about transphobia, we shouldn't be erasing the ways that the harm that people cause, are doing that. And I'm out of time again. And I want to end with this last bit about a question on why the city reps can live within D2, and hopefully hand that off to someone else who wants to talk about it too. Next. Thank you.
Megan Madison. Welcome. Thank you. There isn't a resolution to rescind 248 on the agenda today. Why? Literally, just copy and paste the resolution from last time. We literally offered to draft it for you. As the kids would say, WTF, y'all. Who are you accountable to? We are here to protect trans kids, but not only trans kids. We're aunties and gunkles, teachers and parents of kids, cis kids and trans kids. All the kids who might be trans one day, but we're not sure. And no matter what, we want them to know that we love them, however life unfolds and whoever they become. We're here because we're against fascism. And the antidote to fascism is democracy, not parent leaders who can't work together and don't feel accountable to anyone. Also, please think of one non-English speaking parent in your own kid's classroom and invite them to apply to fill Maud's place. Lastly, because I have the time, Charles, we have you on the public record stating that you'd be willing to compensate $100 for every person who's able to find you saying something useful on the internet. Where can we send our invoice?
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Lupe Hernandez. I'm a New York City public school parent. I'm here speaking in my own personal capacity. Thank you for recognizing accessibility. Accessibility and community engagement is when you can actually participate and fully engage by listening and hearing all of you on the panel I would really like for you guys to maybe mute all of your mics and use only one mic. That would help. I appreciate the community norms that you brought forth and that you are stating, and I hope that you guys can continue to follow them to be able to work together. Accountability, that's what you were represented. That's what you were elected to represent us for, and holding everyone accountable, and that includes yourself. So I implore you, I'm asking for council members to move to add the resolution you brought forth last month, to add it to the agenda tonight for a vote. Because we do need to rescind resolution 248. And I think it's important that you as council members put it on the record that you recognize the impact and harm that has caused, regardless of your intention. I also want to point out that we've had council members leave during the public session, and the same council member that was literally on their phone and not paying attention. And I also have video of you guys videotaping the public members, including children last month, that ran out crying. That's inappropriate. That's against the code of ethics of you being a representative. So please don't threateningly put your phone out and start recording public members when they are holding you accountable. That's what we have come here to do today.
How do you all feel when your kids cry? Like, why haven't you condemned when kids last month walked out crying? Do you feel good when your kids cry? Do you feel good when other kids cry? We're here and we keep showing up because the resolution wasn't just a conversation. We're not going to give an inch to a conversation about whether or not trans kids should feel included in their school. We're not going to give an inch to the fact that student members aren't going to be able to vote. Why is that? And I know you're not making the decision about how young people are not able to vote on your council, but who do we really care about here? You all are not currently in school. You are here based on what your children tell you. And when we are going to add young people here, they're not even going to be able to make decisions or vote on resolutions that impact them every day. And what Elena mentioned about trans kids being allowed to go to school, she doesn't mean literally being allowed to go to school. They should be able to do that too. We mean, what kind of environment are you creating for trans young people? Do they feel good about attending school every day? Are they going to leave the room crying? Are they going to go home crying? Who are you here to protect and serve? And we've asked you all to rescind the resolution. When are you going to do that?
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, Ro Pena, co-founder of Transformative Schools. At the last CEC meeting, listening to the youth speak about their lived experience and their desire to be respected as trans people was deeply moving. At least for the folks who were truly listening, for the folks who understood firsthand about being trans, and for those who were there with open hearts and open minds. I wish kids could run the world, and I mean that. Many of you on this council could learn a thing or two about community care, and also about how simple it is to rescind 248. Trans youth deserve to feel safe, loved, and supported and heard. Some time ago, I was able to talk one-on-one with some trans kids about their thoughts and feelings about being in school these days and about being a part of the human experience in general. And here's what Jack, age 11, had to say. They said, I want to feel comfortable. I want to feel like I don't need to change some part of my identity so that other people could understand it. I could just have my identity and I could just be fine. Petra, age 7, said, everybody, every human being in this planet should be welcomed anywhere.
Even if they are dark-skinned or gay, trans or non-binary or just different, everybody should be welcomed and loved for who they are. You should be respected. That's all I have to say.
That concludes our second public session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. The next order of business is the vote on resolutions. Since we do not have a secretary, I will call the vote. Paper. 1 second. Am I cut off?
No.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so I am going to ask for a motion to approve both, so we'll just do this once. A vote to approve resolutions 257 and 258. Okay. Motion to approve resolution 257. Is there a motion? To approve it, yeah, motion to approve.
Motion to, yes.
Okay. Pre-vote for aye?
Yes.
Pre-vote for aye? Okay. Sorry.
Second.
Sonal made the motion, Jessica seconded. Right. Pre-vote for aye?
Yes.
Pre-vote for aye is yes. Allison Bowen? Allison Bowen, no. Daniela Egorov is absent. Gavin Healy? Yes. Gavin Healy is a yes. Charles Love?
Yes.
Charles Love is a yes. Sonal Patel? Sonal Patel is a yes. Jessica Savage?
Yes.
Jessica Savage is a yes. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg is absent. Sabina Serenise? Sabina Serenise is no. Leonard Silverman? Leonard Silverman is a yes. Craig Slutskin is a yes. So the resolution passes 7 to 2 to 2. So on resolution 258, resolution on mandating designated time for collaboration amongst educators, to promote inclusive learning for students with disabilities. Can I have a motion to approve that resolution? It's a motion made by Jessica Savage, seconded by Sonal Patel. Take it to a vote. Pre-vote for aye?
Yes.
Pre-vote for aye is a yes. Allison Bowen? Allison Bowen is a no. Danielle Egorov is absent. Gavin Healy? Yes. Gavin Healy is a yes. Charles Love? No. Charles Love is a no. Sonal Patel?
Yes.
Sonal Patel is a yes. Jessica Savage?
Yes.
Jessica Savage is a yes. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg is absent. Sabina Serenise?
Yes.
Sabina Serenise is a yes. Leonard Silverman? Yes. Leonard Silverman is a yes. Craig Slutskin is a yes. So that passes 7 to 2 to 2. Okay. Next, we have the approval of the minutes. Has everybody reviewed the minutes? I did mail it out. I did email it out several days in advance so people could read them. Jessica. Do I hear a motion to approve? Are there any corrections or comments on the minutes? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes? And seconded by Charles. I'll take it to a vote. Pre-vote for aye?
Yes.
Pre-vote for aye is a yes. Allison Bowen? Allison Bowen is a yes. Daniela Egorov is absent. Gavin Healy? Yes. Gavin Healy is a yes. Charles Love? Yes. Charles Love is a yes. Sonal Patel?
Yes.
Sonal Patel is a yes. Jessica Savage?
Yes.
Jessica Savage is a yes. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg is absent. Sabina Serenise?
Yes.
Sabina Serenise is a yes. Leonard Silverman? Yes. Leonard Silverman is a yes. I am a yes. So that is 9 to 0 to 0. Is there any new business for the calendar meeting?
I have some business.
Sonal Patel.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve, I guess, what we do. I'd like to make a motion for what I guess would be, to approve resolution 259, which would be, verbatim resolution 254, resolutions written.
So,
whatever the procedure is, you tell me.
so there is no procedure to add it on from the floor after all the public sessions are done.
Because otherwise we didn't give notice, so you'd have to do it for the next meeting.
We can also make a motion to add another public session for this resolution.
I'm gonna check the form of all our variants.
That's not true. That's not true. We can introduce a motion to introduce a resolution by vote. We can vote on it. But that's simply not true. Actually, yeah, and Len, it was you that set that precedent. So let's.
Show me in the bylaws where it's allowed.
I don't have bylaws and I'm terrible with bylaws. Okay, so what is the solution?
Okay, sorry, this is not a public, we're not in public session. You know, I'm not trying to.
Does he put the bylaws in the great thing?
He did.
The question is, our council member.
Put it in the bylaws. We're attempting to. We should call a special meeting right now.
Okay, so,
Thank
Okay. So during the time provided officials with a copy of the president, sorry, meeting. Such.
So you'd have to
petitions
submit a copy
consented-
prior to-
We already have a copy.
yeah.
Such additions consented by a vote of the majority of the council and copies are distributed to each council member.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So I'll just use this?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Do I go first or should I? I'm on page 7 of the bylaws. Right, 3 members of the council who shall have submitted prior, and then the second bullet point is 3 members of the council at any time, provided that they shall have delivered the copy therefore to the president of the AA. It's the same resolution, it's on, by the language of the resolution is exactly the same. The purpose,
Said it would be resolution 259, that's a new resolution. It is a new resolution.
then it's not a new, okay, then let me backtrack then, let me make a motion to repropose a vote on resolution 254, notice of which has been given to this council for over a month, since we all know exactly what the resolution is.
That resolution was voted on. It was voted on already.
I'm making a motion for a
He's
recall.
making a motion, take the vote.
Just take the vote, Craig, take the vote. If you want to vote no again, then vote no again, but just take the vote.
We voted on the resolution.
We're gonna take a vote because it's in the damn bylaws.
No, we're not
Craig.
taking-
Why are you afraid of voting on this resolution?
The bylaws state that the resolution, a new resolution would have to be submitted to the president.
No, the bylaws say 3 members of the council at any time, provided they X, Y, and Z may propose. It's very simple.
No, because then we're gonna go through this every meeting, so. I'm gonna-
We may do this every
We
meeting,
might do
Craig.
this every meeting, actually.
It's very clear, it's very clear. I'm sorry, we're not in public session.
We're having a session.
The bylaws are very clear that any resolution has to be delivered, copy made, resolution. We have voted on a resolution already, so it would be a new resolution. So for those of you at home, I apologize. I didn't realize, I thought I had muted myself. The next meeting will be the third Wednesday of August. School liaison updates. Are there any updates from anybody in the schools?
No.
Yeah, I have an update.
Okay,
Go ahead.
yes.
So,
I had visited one of my schools. I didn't have a chance to speak about this last time, but it was the second time I visited PS. Sorry,
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
I think I am unmuted. Oh, my microphone's on. Okay, is that better? Okay. So I visited PS 51, the second time I visited PS 51. PS 51 is in Hell's Kitchen. I have to say, I was just incredibly impressed with the school, with the administration, with the teachers, with the students, with just the really welcoming, supportive environment there, as well as the parent leaders there, the PTA. It's a school that has served, traditionally served a lot of students in temporary housing. Right now, I think it's close to a third to 40% of its students are in temporary housing. At one point, I believe still it was zoned for 8 different shelters around the Times Square area, including the Row. So they had a lot of students. They had a lot of work to deal with the 60-day rule because, you know, they do have students whose families receive notices like very abruptly that they have to move to another site. And including, it was mentioned, there's like a family that is now moved to a shelter near like LaGuardia Airport, and which is, you know, not accessible by subway, but, you know, they have to, they still continue to take a bus and a train there. It's a very long commute because, you know, there's no guarantee that in another 60 days they won't be moved again. And so these are the kinds of things that I think families are dealing with. But I want to say that the school, the parent community, the teachers, the administration are really doing their all to, as they told me, to make sure that even if students like that no student who comes into that school has to feel like poor inside the school. Like they will feel that they have like a rich experience in the school. And it was really a model for me. And I expressed this to Kelly and told him what, you know, the wonderful things I thought they were doing there. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you, Gavin. I do have 2 updates on 2 of my schools. On PS 11, the school will be adding an air conditioning to the school auditorium. It was one of the winners of council member Bodger's participatory budgeting voting. They're getting $450,000 for that, so congratulations, and it's exciting for the PS 11 family. PS 33 has procured $50,000 for tiling replacement. And while they're not my schools, just reading Councilmember Botcher's report, they've allocated within his district, which overlaps with our district. PS 41 and PS 3 will get bathroom upgrades. PS 340, lab middle, and some of the high schools will get technology upgrades. PS 111 is getting $150,000 for a new hydroponics lab. That's very exciting. And is the chairlift at PS 212. The CEC position vacancy. So as everybody, as Glenn had mentioned, as everybody knows, we have a vacancy at the for one of the positions. We're working with FACE to publicize this. As a reminder, this is an ELL position, so to qualify, your child needs to be currently designated as an ELL child. We encourage everyone to get the word out. I think the speaker's suggestion of speaking to families in your class that will qualify and encouraging them to apply is a great idea. And I'd love to see that. So we will hopefully soon have and then would have gotten the president, prior president. So we have but there's sense of and then we will go.
I just want to clarify that actually the requirement to fill the vacancy is that the parents should have a child who is now or was, I believe, at any time an English language learner.
Thank you.
Thank you. I actually would like to speak for a minute on this outside of the process. Allison, we can't hear you on this side.
No, moved on from that.
Mic on.
Yes.
It's on, but we really can't hear you. I want to go on record to say that I'm disappointed with and angered by Chancellor Bench removal of Rod Barron from the council. And sadly, I am not shocked. I think it is rampant in our culture today. Silence or cancel people we don't agree with. And I think that sends a chilling message. There was a landmark Supreme Court case in defense of freedom of speech, Pinker versus Des Moines, for those of you students of the law. And I'm going to quote something from that ruling that I think is particularly applicable. Students cannot shed their constitutional rights to freedom of expression at the schoolhouse gate. Representatives of the students do not shed their rights upon election to a community. I think Maud Barron is elected to this council. She has a right to freedom of speech, and she should be reinstated to this council rather than being replaced.
Thank you.
Each speech is not protected by the First Amendment.
So the next item on the agenda is the superintendent's evaluation. Len coordinated that because he was the president when we did the evaluation. I'm going to turn it over to him.
So when we submitted our superintendent evaluation, I was designated as the person to go over an evaluation of the superintendent. I was supposed to know tonight. I want to thank the members of the council who actually did submit, to contribute to that evaluation. All of the, all the numbers that added up to whether it was included, satisfactory, or average, teacher qualifications,
Thank you. Are any questions on that? Council. The next item is the continuation of our discussion on the CEC social media. I would like to propose that we table that discussion. I know that was very important to Sarah, and she's not here, so I would rather just have that conversation when Sarah's here, if that's okay with everybody.
And I think so, as long as we can now, will CEC.
Yeah.
Accounts of the.
Yeah.
No,
The only people that have access to the Facebook account would be me, Daniela, and Len. That's because we're the three senior officers. Nobody else has access to it. The Twitter account is me and Daniela. I don't know if Len has access. Nobody who's not on the council.
I think the issue for discussion for next time.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'd rather do that when Sarah's here because I know that was important. Yeah, sure. So just to go back a step, we have a Facebook account. The three people that have access to it were the three senior officers, Len, Daniela, and me. Len just volunteered to take himself off as access to Facebook because he's not an officer anymore and he's not really a Facebook kind of guy. So that's that. Is there any new business for the working business session? Councilmember Silverman.
We really can't hear on this side.
So I wanted to remind everybody, which is a good point, Sarah is excused tonight. She had a family issue, so we will, and Len and I both accepted that. I don't know which one of us technically is the one who was president today. Sarah gets excused.
I have some.
Go ahead, Dion.
So I would like to, I mean, I don't know if this is a matter that we need a resolution for, but I'm happy to introduce a resolution at the next meeting if that is what it'll take. But I think we need an agreement, you know, a community norm among our council members that we're not going to film or take photos of the audience. I mean, I understand that under open meetings law, people come into this space and they could be photographed or recorded. I mean, but it's one thing when it's in the audience, it's another thing when the people on this stage are like holding up their phones and filming people. It's intimidating, it's rude, it's frankly obnoxious. And we talk about not wanting to chill speech, but I think, you know, that's what we're doing. That's what people are doing. And especially when people post those videos later. And I don't want to get into a talk about who did what in the past. I'm only concerned with what is going on in this council right now, with these people on stage right now and the few who are, you know, absent today. I think that's a really simple ask, and I think we can all agree on it.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Word. And especially if we're making it, then no one here can record each other, perfect.
That under the open meetings law. So what I'm asking for is some modicum of courtesy and respect for the audience, and that we are not going to sit here with our phones filming people while they come up here and talk about their testimony, and particularly when it comes to children. You know, and what Maud was removed for was not for her speech. She has a right to free speech, and she can talk on Fox News. She can talk to Tucker Carlson or whatever, you know, crazy person she wants to talk to, all she wants, and she has. But she doesn't have a right to attack a student, to bring harm to a student, to subject a student to death threats. That was what happened to a student at Stuyvesant. And I'm sorry, that I think we as a council need to do better than that.
Can't comment on that, but all I can say is in terms of being respectful of recording, I agree with not being on phones, but otherwise, if there's something that I want to share when I get home with my child, what happened at the meeting, and then if someone is recording me, I'd also like to be able to record and share, like, oh, this is what happened. And I'd like as a learning opportunity for my children.
But it's free. I mean,
Yes, it is. Yes, I know, but not everything is. It focuses on one person who's speaking and hardly you can't hear it, but
It's just creepy.
in terms of,
Honestly.
but then so is the audience is recording, right? They come up. They come up.
This is an elected representative body. It's not the same
One person.
thing.
Let's have one person next time.
I understand, but even as an elected official, if something captures my attention, like the book today captured my attention and I screenshot it immediately because I would like to go home and share that with my child.
You know that.
I know, but still, like then I'm like, oh my God. Because as soon as I'm like, okay, and I know the author of that book, and I'd like her to know, like, you know.
That author has been here for the last 3 or 4 months. We've had every opportunity to go and speak with her personally.
No, it was
Okay, so it was a little hard to hear you, Gavin. Are you going to propose a resolution next month? Do you want to just have a policy? I couldn't hear exactly what you said.
So if it requires a resolution, I'll introduce a resolution. But I don't think it really requires a resolution for us to set some kind of like agreement amongst ourselves that we will not engage in that kind of behavior.
So can I make a suggestion? A wild suggestion. Why don't we all try to show respect for the speakers, and if it becomes a problem again, then we revisit it, but for now, we all know, if anybody here is video, I hope, I'm gonna say I know. I hope nobody here is to videotape to intimidate people. I've never, I can't speak for other people, I've never, I don't require, I don't have to do it anyway. What is, so, for the people here, let's try and show respect, and if it becomes an issue again, we talk about it, but I think you've made your point, it's very valid, but we don't wanna intimidate anybody, any member of the public.
But I think to speak to everybody in this council, that's what you're.
I'm talking to him only because he's the one who said it. I'm not looking at him and doing it. He's the one who introduced the concept, so that's why.
Yes.
Okay, can we try to really just not try to, let's see how it goes in the next couple of meetings too. And if we have to revisit it, Gavin, I'm sure you'll bring it up. It's fine, I welcome you to do so. We can try.
Well, as we've seen, if I wanted to bring up a resolution about it, I would have to do it like before roll call. So, I mean, I'm a little bit reluctant, given the track record that we have here, to, you know, to like leave it to that.
Then what would you propose? You know, I'm asking you, you're making a comment, and I'm saying, what would you propose?
So, Fred, let me ask you this question, as our incoming and new president, do you think it is appropriate for council members, while members of the public and children are speaking, to be doing this in their meetings?
I can't speak for.
What do you think personally?
I would, but
do you think it's appropriate?
Okay, wait, let me answer.
Yeah.
Okay. So first, I'm gonna separate it into two different things. What Bree was describing, because she wants to find a book, or whatever she was saying, that's totally separate to me. I think that's sort of a different animal, basically. I personally wouldn't do that. I don't think I've ever reported, if I'm on the council, I've ever reported anybody speaking. I don't think so. I'm not asking for my.
Do you think it's appropriate? That's right.
Could you let me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I personally don't think, I wouldn't do it. I don't know in terms of whether legally it's a free speech. I don't know. I have to think about it. I'm asking me off the top. I have to think about it more to say, well, there's more implication than just saying yes or no. There's also free speech. I don't know the answer.
For you
I would,
as a person,
I didn't know.
it's appropriate for you as a council member to be videotaping.
I'm not videotaping it. No, I wouldn't do it.
Sounds like you're saying no.
I wouldn't do it for me, but I don't know that we can ban it, but I wouldn't do it, no. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Like an answer right now.
Leadership style to discuss. So,
Yeah.
you know, if the president says he doesn't think it's appropriate.
I'm not personally, but I don't know what, I don't know if we can, I don't know what we're allowed to ban and not. I haven't thought about it. I'm also not a lawyer. So you're the lawyer, so.
You were a lawyer a few minutes ago when you were reading bylaws. You were wrong.
CPA, very good.
Look, Craig, we know that none of our resolutions aren't binding, right? Like, we can't compel people. We can't, haul them in front of court if they, do this thing. But we can still come together as a community and agree on something that is respectful of the people that we are supposed to be representing. And I want to be very clear, I wasn't finding fault with Priya or what you were doing tonight. But this has been an ongoing issue. And there's been a lot of ongoing issues in this council, including the social media thing, which was just beyond the pale, absolutely beyond the pale. And so it's clear that there are issues going on here. And this is not about free speech, but it's just like, I'm not gonna remove the phone from someone if they continue to do that. I can't do that. But like, I think we can come together and say, like, what is our understanding about what is a respectful way to address, our community? And I certainly haven't seen it here so far, especially not over these last few months among the members of this council. I mean, some of them are not here tonight, but let's just, some of them are, yeah.
That being said, I'm not encouraging the use of it. If somebody feels that a council member is acting inappropriately, you can also, anybody, member of the public, who can file, avail themselves to the consent process as well. And that is what it is, but everybody has the right to do that. And we've seen that the Department of Education does take it seriously. They've acted on.
Okay, so Craig, you would recommend that if someone feels that they or their child has been somehow like their privacy has been infringed on, that you would recommend that they file a D210.
Recommending anything, I'm letting you, I'm saying that
They feel, they
they
feel they
need
do
to do
that,
that.
that process is being developed. I'm not making any recommendation. It's not my place to make a recommendation. That's what anybody would choose. Right. But it exists. If they want to use it, they should be able to use it.
Indeed, sure. Noted.
Any other individual?
Then can I make a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Unanimous consent. Have a good evening, and I apologize for the heat, but, you know, it made
All
it
your
for an
fault.
interesting.
All your fault.
It is my fault. It made for an interesting evening. Thank you very much, everybody.